You know, in modern software development, moving at lightning speed isn't just an aspiration anymore, it's pretty much the baseline. So the real question is, how do you keep up that pace without completely burning out your team? Well, the answer often comes down to the software you're using. It's not just another tool, it's the very engine that can keep your teams in sync and shipping great work.
Does this feel a little too familiar? The push to ship new features is just relentless. You're trying to juggle designers, developers, and operations people all at the same time that customer expectations are going through the roof. In that kind of high-pressure environment, it's so easy for things to fall through the cracks.
And this quote it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? This is the chaos that happens. When your information is scattered across a dozen different emails, Slack channels, and spreadsheets, you don't get clarity, you get confusion. You get delays. This fragmentation is the exact problem a good, unified productivity system is built to solve.
Okay, so before we can start fixing the chaos, we really need to get our heads around the landscape. Let's take a second and clarify two terms you hear thrown around all the time: Agile and DevOps. People often use them interchangeably, but they're actually solving for different parts of the puzzle.
Here's a simple way to think about it. Agile is all about the what and the when. It's the framework for planning work in these short, collaborative cycles called sprints. DevOps, on the other hand, is the how. It's all about building the super-fast, automated highway that gets code from a developer's laptop out to the user, smoothly and reliably.
But here's the thing. Even though they have different focuses, teams using Agile and DevOps run into the exact same walls. How do we keep everyone on the same page when priorities change every other day? How do you maintain quality when the pressure to move fast is so intense? These are the shared struggles that make having a single, coherent system so incredibly important.
All right, let's zoom in on the Agile world first. The core ideas of Agile, things like transparency and collaboration, they're basically impossible to achieve when information lives everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The big goal here is to create one single source of truth.
And when you centralize everything, you see the magic happen. Sprint planning suddenly becomes realistic instead of just a wild guessing game. When all your stories and tasks are in one spot, you can actually see your team's real velocity. You can prioritize the backlog properly, and, this is the big one, you can spot blockers before they completely derail a sprint. You start making decisions based on data, not just gut feelings.
And you can see this change in something as simple as the daily stand-up meeting. You know the drill. Without a shared board, it just turns into this long, boring status report where everyone drones on. But with one, the focus instantly shifts. It's not about what you did, it's about what's stopping you from moving forward. The meetings get shorter, and the vibe changes from feeling like micromanagement to one of real, shared accountability.
Okay, so that's Agile. Now let's flip over to the DevOps side of the house. DevOps is famous for its automation, right? Things like CI/CD pipelines, infrastructure as code. But automation is only half the story. You still have to keep the people aligned across that whole entire pipeline.
And this is the whole game, really. It's about tearing down those old classic walls between the dev team and the ops team. A shared platform does this by creating total end-to-end visibility. When the ops team can see what features are coming down the pipe and the dev team can see the real-time status of a deployment, you get shared ownership. It's no longer their problem, it's our problem.
And this visibility isn't just a snapshot either. It stretches across the entire release cycle. You can literally trace a feature from a simple idea to a plan, through testing, into deployment, and even see how it's doing out in the wild. That tight connection makes everything from incident response to gathering feedback way faster.
And all of that data feeds directly into a core belief of DevOps: continuous improvement. See, a good system doesn't just spit out metrics like your change failure rate. It gives you the context, the conversations, the linked tasks, the planning docs that helps you understand why a failure happened in the first place. And that is how teams actually learn and get better over time.
Now, let's pivot a little bit, because this might just be the most important part of this whole conversation. This isn't just about making your processes more efficient. It's about making work healthier and more sustainable for the actual people doing the work.
This quote says it all, doesn't it? The goal here isn't to squeeze more hours out of people. The goal is to remove all the friction and the noise so they can focus their time and their brain power on the complex, high-impact problems they were hired to solve. That's what sustainable performance looks like.
Because just look at the alternative. Poorly designed, scattered systems have a very real human cost.
They crank up the cognitive load by making people constantly jump between 10 different tools just to find one piece of information. That constant context switching is mentally exhausting, and it is a one-way ticket to disengagement and burnout. A really thoughtful platform does the complete opposite. It acts like a shield, protecting the team's focus. It automates all the boring, repetitive stuff. It brings the right information to you right when you need it. And it cuts down on all those just checking in meetings because progress is visible to everybody, all the time. This is how you deliver at a high level without sacrificing your team's well-being.
So we're all on board with why these systems are so critical. Now let's get practical. How do you actually make one work for you? How do you turn it from just another piece of software into a real, genuine competitive advantage?
Sooner or later, a lot of growing organizations hit this big fork in the road. Do we stick with the off-the-shelf tools we've been using, or is it time to invest in building our own custom solution? There's no single right answer here, but there are some pretty clear signals that it might be time to start thinking about building.
So when should you build? Well, it's probably time to start thinking about it when your current tools just can't keep up with your growth, or when your workflows are so unique that you spend more time fighting your software than actually using it. For a mature company, owning your own productivity platform isn't just a luxury, it's a strategic asset.
But look, whether you build it or you buy it, a great tool is totally useless if nobody actually adopts it. Getting it right really comes down to a few key things. You have to involve the actual users from day one. You've got to fit the tool to their workflow, not force them to change for the tool. And you need to treat adoption like an ongoing process of learning and improving, not just some one-and-done launch event.
And that brings us right back around to the central idea of this whole explainer. Technology is an incredible enabler, but it should always, always be in service of people. The best systems out there, they provide structure without killing creativity. They make work visible without making people feel like they're being watched. They empower teams. Ultimately, this is the whole point. When you give your teams the clarity, the autonomy, and the support that they need to do their best work, high performance isn't something you have to force out of them. It just becomes the natural, everyday outcome of a healthy, well-functioning system.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Take a hard look at the tools your team is using every single day. Are they a catalyst, speeding up their work and making their lives easier? Or have they become a cage, trapping them in rigid processes and creating unnecessary friction? The answer to that question makes all the difference in the world.